Welcome back to the channel. It's the Bald Bearded Bicyclist, and this, like the title said, is one of the most frustrating races I have ever partaken in. A lot of it was just really where I was mentally. So this is the first fireball race back since my crash in week 4, and we start off. Jim does a little attack up the side, and everyone just kind of lets him go. And then we've got Moose who follows him, and everyone's gonna let that go. So when I started this race, first of all, there's a couple of things. You can see this is a really small group. We got the 2 people off the front, then we got Larry and James, and then there's Tyler, myself, Todd, B, and we got Rich here. So I'm gonna go to the back. And right when we started this race, I was thinking, I wanted to hang back this time. I wanted to try something different. The last few weeks, I've been just attacking like crazy, and I wanted to sit in a little bit and see how that worked out for me. But unfortunately, with Jim and Moose off the front and no one really wanted to chase, this turned into us really just doing nothing. So there was an opportunity that maybe when Rich was on the side there blocking James, I could have tried to attack, and that would have at least hurt James a little bit. But I talked to I talked to Rich and I talked to Larry, and we just kind of decided to let them go. So Tyler goes here, and again, he's not on Chicluna, so we kind of just figure, all right, we'll let them go. This is maybe 10 minutes later. Tyler did a great job. He almost got to them, and Jim and Moose said later that they saw him coming. They picked up the pace, and then he just kind of got stuck in no man's land. But good effort by Tyler. But we did bring him back. But this whole time, Rich is just kind of sitting on the front and doing tempo. And I had talked to Larry, and Larry had kind of said, well, let's wait for James to go. And when James goes, let's immediately get on the front and wait and just bring him back. We'll work together instead of chasing him individually, because he said at the time he wasn't really feeling that great. So I start picking up the pace, and I'm going to get right to the front. I didn't want to snap too hard, and I'm holding 500 watts, and all of a sudden Larry just goes. So I'm like, what the shit? I thought we had a plan here, and apparently he decided otherwise. So now, instead of letting James dangle and us working together, I'm holding way too many watts. No one's going to be pulling through, and I'm just going to close this. Meanwhile, I felt bad because Rich had been on the front doing tempo the whole time, so us attacking hard over him basically means that we were just going to drop him. So now we no longer have 3 people in our team that can rotate and bring moves back. There's just Larry and I, and then there's 2 Chicluna team members, and there's Tyler. And I apologize, the rear camera cut out. I think it was the heat this night. So it says 79 degrees. It was so humid. We were just drenched in sweat. So it was crazy hot this whole week. So this is honestly why I think the group was so small this week. It was just that crazy heat. So once this first attack came, there was maybe a few laps of intensity here, but there was really 20 minutes of just soft pedaling, and then you're going to see a few laps of just insanity, really 1 lap. And I think over this entire race, I averaged 180 watts, but there was 1 lap in which my normalized power was like 350 or something. That's just ridiculous. So the variability index of this race was just insane. I was either soft pedaling or I was anaerobic. There was just no in between in this race. But I don't really know what to do at this point, because I was thinking, I didn't really want to be the main guy attacking here, and my heart rate shot up so much after we've been sitting for so long that I was finding it hard at points when there were attacks to really carry any speed over the top, and my will to attack was just very little. And I think partly that was the mental space that I had been in going into this race, thinking I was going to hang back, and it was also my first real race coming back from the crash. So other than, a couple of KOMs, I really had not been doing much race efforts in the couple weeks since my crash. This hurt me a little bit, getting back on the back of this. And again, it was either I was soft pedaling or I was just working really hard. So everybody kind of spread out here. Obviously, I could have maybe tried to attack along the right side here, but I was just not feeling good. It was so hot. Honestly, my heart rate wouldn't even go that high, which is a sign usually that I'm overly fatigued. With the heat being what it was, I would have thought that my heart rate would have been in the 170s for some of these efforts, and I don't even think it went into the 170s. So I think I was really struggling due to the heat and some fatigue. But James is just going to keep attacking, and for a while here, it was either Larry or I would follow and just kind of rotate. And then we do this whole thing where he sits up and then everyone's just kind of bunches up. And this made me nervous because honestly, that's what caused my crash last time. Just the accordion of having things completely strung out and then completely stop. It just makes things bunch up. So if somebody keeps a nice tempo like Rich was doing before, it makes it a lot safer for everybody in the pack, because it can feel sometimes like somebody's slamming on their brakes when there's an attack, and then it just gets shut down really quickly. So again, I was just kind of dangling, and so this is gonna hurt. And I could maybe attack over, but in the back of my head too, I had the conversation that I had with Rich and Larry that we should just let Jim and Moose go. I know for a fact that if I go, James is gonna get on my wheel. He wants to be up in that break. I want to be up in that break, but not at the cost of just towing him behind me either. So good 1,000 watts here. That didn't feel great. And I think Larry's right on my wheel. If Larry wasn't on my wheel, maybe I would have gone over James, and maybe I should have. I couldn't tell if Todd and Tyler were right on Larry's wheel, but maybe it would have been better to just keep things hard and just see if we could drop some people, because then maybe if it ended up with Larry, James, and I, we'd have at least a slightly better outcome. You can hear me breathing hard there. Again, these efforts, I would think that my heart rate should be 170s, especially in the heat, and it's just not getting up. And I was hurting so much more than that heart rate showing you. Otherwise, that would have been a good opportunity to go over the top. And Larry goes, and at this point, I'm just like, great, the two of you can just go. I need a second. But I shot myself in the foot a little bit here because, I just put myself in a weird position. I'm on the front. Now the guys behind me don't want to do anything. I know that Todd is marking me. In these standings, we are pretty close. So jumping ahead a little bit, and I just want to show you how easy I'm going. I'm like on 130 watts here, and no one will come around me. I'm literally, I just stopped pedaling. I mean, you could see my watts drop 60 watts. And I'm just kind of looking at everybody else. Nobody wants to do anything. So I just coasting. And Tyler finally comes around. This is the first time that anybody's come around. And I should have really taken advantage of this, because I'm finally off the front, where I had been for too long here. And I know we're not going fast, but this is probably the only real opportunity I had to attack these guys. I should have given a little bit of space, and attacked hard. Or what I could have done was slotted behind Tyler here. But I need to get out of my head that, like, the whole mentality of just pulling through, because this is a race, it's not a group ride. And I kind of pulled through, and then I kind of thought better of it. But at that point, I had already gotten past Tyler and up to Todd, and Todd kind of slotted in behind me, and I couldn't get back off the front. So it was another lap later, and Tyler thankfully attacks again. And in between these attacks, literally, I was just on the front soft pedaling. I kept getting trapped. And I know Todd's kind of like daring me to close this gap. Like, he wants me to get on Tyler so that he can get behind me. And it's a tough place for me to be. I know I should have attacked through, and I just wasn't in it mentally. I kept making a lot of mistakes here. I know it was hot, and I had set that goal for myself to not be, the guy constantly attacking. But the way that this race played out, I am not the best sprinter. These guys I know are pretty strong when it comes to sprinting. So I just kind of resigned to let it come to a sprint, and that was dumb, considering my power. And so yeah, I'm just kind of like hanging out, and then I end up getting on the front again for some reason. I think I felt bad that Tyler had been doing the attacking, and we were just letting him do the work. So I ended up getting on the front, and again, you can see I'm going 100 watts. This is the going into 1 to go here, and I'm just freewheeling here a little bit. And I think from here on, I was just on the front doing this pretty much the entire rest of the race. So coming into the last corner, I did a little feint attack, and I wanted to see if somebody would maybe go early, that I'd be able to latch onto them. And that was not going to happen, so I shut it down. I didn't really have any intention to go. And looking back, maybe I should have just gone, because I think I did get a tiny bit of a gap on Todd. But then I waited, and I was so concerned with Todd that Tyler hit it, and he timed things great. I mean, look, he's got a great gap. I actually almost still got Todd at the line, but didn't. He sat up, and so I pretty much came in last here. And yeah, most frustrating race I have had to date. I think things would have been a little different if we had a bigger group, and I really should have just started attacking. I know I was listening to the team, and the guys didn't want to bridge to Jim and Moose. I think that probably would have been my best bet, is just trying to get up with them. But at the end of the day, I wanted to make sure that Jim did get up there. He got second, and I think Larry actually got James. So Larry got third, I believe. So not too bad as far as the team goes, but my own performance, I struggled and could have done things a lot differently. But short one for you guys. Thanks for tuning in. Make sure you like and subscribe, and see you at week 7.